This video is brought to you by Miniature Market. Thousands of board games, discounted prices, miniaturemarket.com.
Hello my friends, it's the Game Boy Geek here. Today we're going to be flying our ships through outer space, going through different planetary systems, and we're going to be trying to not only claim, but construct and start spinning different gyrodynes on pulsars to get points each round. Today, we're talking about Pulsar 2849 from CGE. This is a dice drafting Euro style game for 2 to 4 players, takes 60 to 90 minutes to play. Let me show you how it's played. I'll see you on the other side. Now here's Pulsar 2849 set up. We have all these different things around this whole thing. I'm going to be zooming on different spots and bringing them off the board to show it to you easier, but this is what it looks like when it's all set up. Now again, this would usually be around the whole circle structure, but this will give you a better look at it. The game is a point salad game. There's many different ways to get points, so let me just show you about the turn structure. Here is turn order. We've got red, green, and yellow, and they start with their types of discs on the initiative track. Now these dice will get rolled, and there's a different amount of dice depending on the amount of players. This is a 2 or 3 player game, so you use 7 dice. With 4 players, you use 9 dice. You roll all the dice and you put them where they belong, and then depending on where the median is, this will show where that is. And how this works is as you take a die, each of these people are going to take a die. Red's going to take one, then green, then yellow will take a second one, then green, then red. So it's a serpentine dice draft. And as you take a die, you're not going to take an axe right away, you'll just take it, but based upon where you take it. Now generally, large dice are better than lower dice. And what that means is if I take this 6, it's going to do me really good. But from the median, it is going to be 1, 2, 3 to the right that this red player would have to move. So they might go 1, 2, 3. So you could choose either this initiative track or this engineering track. Well, what do these do? Well, to the right is worse. If you go too far, you're going to be losing points at the end of each round. To the left is good. This shows you initiative track, so whatever order these are in at the end of the turn, that's how what order turn order will be next turn. So you're fighting for going to the left for turn order here, and here at the end of the round you'll get engineering cubes, which will give you more options. It'll give you points at the end of the game. You can spend them to try to get points. It'll give you some bonus moves, things like that. And so this is sort of, bonus moves and points, and this is turn order. And the dice you take to the left, so if the green player now took a 1, because it is 1, 2, 3 from the yellow initiative here, they would get to go 3. So let's say 1, 2, 3. So now they're moving up in the engineering track. So you can see that the dice you want to choose might be different depending on where you want to go on these tracks, and of course what you're doing with these dice. Once all the dice have been drafted, 2 per player, there'll be 1 die left over. That might come into useful things later I'll talk about. So what can you do on your turn? I'm glad you asked. There's a player aid that comes with it. Everyone gets one. It talks about the phases, how things work, and it tells you about all the different things you can do. You can fly a ship. Let's talk about that. Now each player starts out on a specific starting gate, and that's selected in reverse turn order at the beginning of the game. Now I had drafted, let's say red drafted 2 dice. They're going to use these actions in whatever order they want. So let's say they go 6. They're going to fly a ship. You can fly like this: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, just following the lines like that. Now as I do that, as I pass through these, I'm going to flip these over. Now what I'll do is if I have passed through one of these that I flipped over, I'm going to place one of my markers on any lifeless planets like this. These are going to get me points depending on how many of these I put out throughout the game. We would flip this one over. Again, we see this, and then sometimes depending on the amount of players, you would end up putting one there for the player that's not playing, to indicate that nobody can put a disc there. So this player went through here. Again, I didn't land on it, so I placed it on sort of a barren planet. But the one that I landed on, I get to actually place on a blue planet, and then I get this bonus. Now this is essentially going to allow me to change the die up or down 1 pip. And I'll get one of those engineering cubes we talked about earlier. We'll talk more about what you can do with those later. Now anytime you've explored a planet, instead of taking this bonus, meaning you've landed on it, you can take one of these. These are just randomized. A lot of times they're points, and they're maybe cubes, other things like this, but it's a way that you can get something. If you didn't really want that bonus, there's a way to try to randomly get something better. And as I spent that dice, I'd place in the middle to know that I'm done with that die. Now I wasn't actually able to land on this pulsar with my move, but let's say I was able to land here. If it's unclaimed, meaning there's nothing on it, you can land on it. And if you do, you get to place a ring, meaning you've claimed this pulsar and nobody else can claim it. Now, another thing you could do on your turn is construct one of these gyrodynes. Now, this one takes a 1 die, a 2 die, and a 3 die, depending on what die you would take in that turn, and you would spend it to get one of these. What this allows you to do is to basically construct it. And anytime you have a claimed pulsar, whether you're on it or not, as long as you have a ring on there, and you have one of these, you can actually construct it right in the middle of there. And that means I basically have put this here. Now, on a subsequent turn or action, if I have a 3 die or can make a die of 3, I essentially can flip this over and now it's spinning and creating energy. And so at the end of each round for the whole game, and the game is 8 rounds long, you're going to get however many points are on here. And of course, the higher that you've spent to get those and the higher that you spend to get it spinning, it tells you the points. This one will always give 1, this one will always give 2, these ones will always give 3 points every round once they're spinning. Also, if you've ever constructed 2 of any of these, you get this. First one there's 7 points, second one there's 4 points. You can actually be the same person to get both of these if you're the first person basically to get 4 of them. And it's sort of a rush for bonus points there. Now, another thing you could do is take a transmitter. Again, you're only doing one thing with each die. I'm just showing you all the different options. Maybe I had a die with a 6 still for my actions. I could spend it because this is a 6 and put this right in front of me. Then I would flip it over, but I'd immediately be able to claim a pulsar, one of the ones that's not connected to anything, and I'd immediately get 3 points. And then I would flip this over. And this is interesting because you'll see this has a 2 and a 1 here. Now, let's say on a subsequent turn, I was able to place a 2 on here, which allowed me to take this. Now this is in front of me. And then on a subsequent turn, I was able to also spend the 5, because once you're able to, put dice there, you're covering them with discs so you know that you've done it. So let's say I was able to get this too. I'd get 15 points and I flip this over and I can attach this to either side. I can actually flip this over here, or I could put it like this. If I put it like this, I would get that red bonus die. In this case, I'd have 4 pips. I could now take an action worth 4, and that's pretty much cool. So you can actually start to build technologies. Let's say later I got this. This would give me points right away, and then at the end of each round, I'd get 1. So when you flip this over, this just reminds you at the end of each round I get a point. And again, I could make it a 4 here, or maybe I really needed 2 that round. And so you can start to build off these different transmitters. And if you have nothing better to do with the weaker dice, you could take this and put it in front of you, and then you can spend it on your turn to change a die. So you could add or subtract a pip from a die, or you could add 2 pips to a die. And you can never use more than one of these on the same die. You can only update a die once because everything you're doing is exact. You have to have the exact die to do everything I've been showing you, but this will allow you to give you more flexibility. Now, here are technologies that you can patent throughout the game. It's also a round tracker. This is round 2, 3, 4, and after each round it's moving up until you get to the end of the 8th round. So let's focus in on what these different things do. So if I had a die that was a 3, I could spend this, activate this, and this would allow me for every one of these technologies that I patent throughout the game, I'm going to get 2 points. So that would be sort of an ongoing bonus. If I had a 5 and it was this round, let's just say, I'd spend my die that's a 5, and I would place one of these here, and I would activate this, which is claim a pulsar that's by itself, and I would get to basically construct any of those gyrodynes. Now this round, nobody else can go here. At the end of this round, this would float down, and then another player can do this, but there'll never be more than 2 players that can do something, because you can't go to the same thing more than once. So these do all different things, and the cool thing is there's actually multiple boards. There's 4 different sides. There's 2 boards for each level, and 2 sides. So it's A, B, C, and D for this, and for the top one. So lots of variability here, and the top ones tend to be like end game bonuses. Like, hey, if you have one of each of the 3 gyrodyne types spinning at the end, you'll get 16 points. Things like that. So a lot of end game goals, some ongoing things, some round end things, all different things there. And there's even a completely different rulebook to go through all the different technologies. Now there's also different goal cards. They're end game goals. There's actually 6 different ones, and each of these are double-sided, which are variants of the ones that are here. So there's a lot of different random ways that the game can be set up. This one says basically if you are spinning 2 different types of gyrodynes at the end of the game, you'll get 5 points. If you're then spending 3 engineering cubes, you get 5. If you spend 2 more, you get another 5. So you get 15 points if you have 5 engineering cubes and you've done this. This is having 9 discs out on the different planetary systems, and again, selling. This is patenting 5 technologies, 6 points, selling cubes at the end, more points. So end game goals that you're working towards. Now, There's an advanced game where you can also play with headquarters. Now there's 4 different boards and they're both double-sided, and you can spend dice on your own board, and as you do that, you spend the dice, you can basically activate something like this. Like let's say I just spent a 2, I'd cover this and I get 2 of these dice manipulators. Now to be able to get this one here, I have to be able to mark off everything below it. So let's say I had done this one by spending a 5, now I've unlocked the ability to try to do this one. If I do this one, now I've unlocked the ability to do this one, and so forth. So it's a way to kind of work things up, and there's also different technologies that you can patent that will leverage these different headquarters as well, but this is an optional part of the game, but I recommend playing with it if you're a seasoned gamer. So that's the game in a nutshell. Each player is going to be drafting 2 dice, serpentine style as mentioned, adjusting this track, and at the end of the rounds you're going to update the turn order, give cubes to whoever's furthest on this track, and you'll be getting ongoing points for different transmitters you've already activated, maybe spinning energy, spinning gyrodynes. And of course, technologies can also give you points each round. Speaking of those spinning gyrodynes, each round, they may give you more points depending on what technology or what level you're at as well. So you're getting all these points every round as well. And at the end of the game, you'll be looking at these, getting bonus points, and seeing whoever has the most at the end is the winner. All right, well, there is Pulsar 2849. Let's first start with the production. CGE lately, or pretty much always, it knocks it out of the park, and they did here. First of all, nod to the rulebook. The rulebook is really, really good. Now, granted, they have one of the best, if not the best, rules person around, Paul Grogan, to kind of work through the rules, and that's what he does. He helps with rules. He's amazing at it, and it shows because the rulebook is very good. Components are awesome too. Lots of cardboard in this game. Just all the components are high quality that you would expect from CGE. I love the dice drafting in this game. I love drafting in general, both cards, but I also love it with dice too, and I do enjoy that sort of serpentine draft of dice. Just recently reviewed, Sagrada that has it, and some of the older games like Great Austere Hotel and stuff that use that serpentine dice drafting, and I tend to love that, and I love the way it's implemented here. Because as you're taking dice, you've got these choices to make, which is, I'm going to take this die, but I'm going to move this way on the initiative track. The better dice make you go in the worst way. The lesser dice that let you do less let you go in the better way. Do I really want to, get this 5 and get this gyrodyne spinning, but I could take the 2, take turn order this round, and then next round I'll be able to go first because I really need to get that technology down there. Or, hey, it's getting to the end of the game. I really want to get some of these engineering cubes so I can sell them to get some of these extra bonuses. So I don't really want that too, but if I do, I'll get enough engineering cubes to be able to do this thing, and that will get me 6 points. And so it's not just draft a die because I want to do what I want to do. You're drafting dice based upon possibly what else is going on. So it gives another layer of depth there to the choice of which dice you take. I love that about that in this game. Speaking of choices, this game has a multitude of them. You're always thinking, what can I do? What should I do? It's only 8 rounds long, so if you don't get any bonus die, you're only taking 16 turns, and you're always feeling like, oh man, I want to do way more than I can, and everything. You're like, I can do so many things, and it's very point salad-like, and it's weird because I don't typically like point salad games, but I loved this one. It's just the choices. So many ways do you want to go? Do I want to fly around a lot? Put them around. Do I want to just concentrate on gyrodynes? Get those things spinning. And no matter what strategy you take, you're going to be going down technology routes to help implement those even better, or maybe endgame goals, or maybe even those headquarters. So you're like going down all these different routes. So I want to go down the transmitter route, do this, get a bunch of bonus die, get more turns. There's just so much you can do, and every time you've got a die, and even if it's not the one you wanted, there's always something good you can do with it. There's never any bad turns, never turns where you're like, oh, that stunk. Of course, there's turns where you're like, man, that was going to get me 16 points, now I'll get 5. But you still get to do something cool, and I like that about it. The transmitters, I loved how a lot of those you get points now, and you can link those, flip them over, and get bonuses, bonus dice. And some of them give you points ongoing, and that's such a cool aspect because a lot of times you're looking at the technology, the transmitters, you're seeing what it gives you, but you're also seeing, well, which bonus die could I possibly get, and can that get the die that I really need? Very interesting. I love the headquarters. They give you that, again, another layer of depth. Some of the technologies really go with that as saying, hey, however many headquarters you get certain points. More depth. It says for your first game, don't play with it. If you're a seasoned gamer, I think you could probably throw it in the first game. I love the goal tiles. Trying to be focused on something towards the end of the game. Also trying to get the engineering cubes to sell things for that. Really fun. Which brings me to the end, which ties everything together with this game. As not only is it amazing because of all the things I mentioned, but it has an unbelievable replayability. The different technologies, the different boards, 2 different boards, 4 sides for each level, randomize it up, gonna be different every game. Goal tiles, 6 different goal tiles, 2 different sides, randomize it up, there you go. Headquarters, 4 different boards, 2 different sides, randomized up, there you go. This game has so much replayability built in. I absolutely love it. Anything I didn't like about this game? The score track could use a smaller, sort of a darker gray number in between the 5s, because there's only every 5, and I would just love to see the other numbers and make it a lot easier moving up, because sometimes you're moving up quite big at a time, and so I just would wish they had numbers there in a dark gray. There's also some downtime due to the serpentine draft, and that's just natural. In any dice drafting game that goes serpentine style, there's gonna be some downtime. Now, up until now, my favorite dice drafting full-length Euro game, meaning 60 to 90 minutes, has been Grand Austria Hotel. And that game, a lot of people strongly disliked it because of how long the downtime was. 4 players, if I take the first die, I'm not getting another die to the 6th. Same one, the 8th one. Same thing here. However, I'm gonna say that yes, there can be downtime waiting, but I don't think it's nearly as bad as Grand Austria Hotel. And I think because in Grand Austria, you're taking a die and then you're doing an action. But there's like 4 other possible actions you could do on your turn. Plus there's a lot of thinking as to what you'll do with that action. And then that might turn this into that. And then this goes to that. And there's this, and that's as you're drafting. Where here, you're drafting, everyone's drafting, and then the first player's doing both of their actions. Now, when you're drafting, you're typically trying to plan out your whole turn. What am I gonna do? Which 2 dice do I want? Which dice do I really want? Do I think this other one will be there? Lots of choices. But it still goes way faster, I think, than the Grand Austria Hotel did. So if Grand Austria kind of like pushed you off of dice drafting with a lot of people in the serpentine way, don't be too afraid. There still can be some downtime, and it isn't negative here where there can be some, but it's not nearly as bad as some other games in this genre. And so when it comes down to that, so after playing this a bunch of times, I played Grand Austria Hotel back to back with this just to see, because I've always loved Grand Austria Hotel, and I've got to say, Pulsar is my new favorite full-length Euro dice drafting game because it's absolutely amazing. And for that, it's getting a saxophone serenade, so let's go.
This video was sponsored by Miniature Market's Review Corner. The Review Corner features podcasts, video, and written game reviews by gamers for gamers. Miniature Market, the online gaming superstore. Thousands of board games, discounted prices. Check them out at miniaturemarket.com.